Hey peeps, welcome back to Watch Me AI, the quick podcast series where we see how smart people are getting replaced by AI and a little bit of real workflows in day to day life and work. So I'm joined today by Ore Phillips, and background of Ore just makes me hyped and it looks super cool. So he spent years at the PwC in consulting, then he was the chief customer officer at Bitwave, and now he's the founder and owner of the AgenticLedger agency company. I don't know for sure, but we will get to know later. So a pretty interesting guest, and there is a lot to talk about. So Ore, welcome to Watch Me AI series. So happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. I've been watching and it's pretty awesome. First, I love as a person that's doing YouTube myself, I love your intro music and then the guests that have come so far in different disciplines.
That's true. By the way, Ore has started his own show, which is called Finance is Cooked. And yeah, it has a little bit of similar ideas. So it's also around the financial data and AI. Give it a watch. I will link it down in the description. Or you pretty much should feel comfortable at the podcast shows.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here for sure.
Okay, maybe for everyone to get to know you better, can you walk us through your career or the past few years and what do you do now?
Absolutely. So my background actually, if I go back to like college, I know people don't go that far, but I I I always joke that like I was somebody that I wasn't smart enough to be, full computer science, but also I wanted the business side. So I basically was like the mix. I did a degree called management information systems, which was like half computer science and half business. So I put those two things together. And that has kind of driven my career is like I've always been in some function of like technology and business together. Even in PwC, implementing systems, implementing processes, all of that kind of stuff. And then I caught the crypto bug. I did some work actually on like, stable coins are in right now, but back then 2016 I did some work on the Libra DM project. That was my entry into crypto. And then at the end of that project, yeah, at the end of that project, I ended up saying, "Hey, I got to go deep into crypto." Met the co-founders of Bitwave. Spent about 4.5 years, about 4 years there. And Bitwave is a accounting, financial reporting, again, kind of like a systems for digital assets platform. And then just recently I left to go out on my own to triple down on AI. So and now that's what I do. I essentially meet people, particularly in the finance function. I call myself the new finance IT, meaning I'm leveraging AI to essentially enable the finance function, both process wise and like using my product and technology and all of that. So it's a fun period of consulting and product together in the finance function that I do now.
Pretty cool. I saw that you also on LinkedIn, you kind of position yourself that not every company needs the full chief AI officer, so you can help basically any company to figure out how they can use AI and AI agents to
Yeah,
boost their
I
business.
yeah, honestly, like it is pretty early in the AI journey, right? From my standpoint. And so one of the things is that should you 100% invest in a full-time person today doing AI, it might be questionable. Over time you'll end up there, but maybe today you need more of a part-time fractional services. So I do that for a number of companies.
Yeah. And taking looking at your current experience with and the company is called AgenticLedger. I'm wondering when did AI became the significant part of your life or of your day-to-day work? When did it change something? When was that moment like, okay, AI is the future, I want to connect my profession with AI?
Yeah, so this is super interesting, and I should give credit to like Bitwave because how it started for me was that so at Bitwave I was more in kind of like a solutions role rather than engineering, and Bitwave was growing so much, there was so much demand for features and all of that kind of stuff, and so I actually started doing some little programming, like like in that middle bar to be like, hey, I got it with the customer, and they really need this. Our engineering team is very focused on long term capabilities. We need this short term bridge. And so I started like coding at Bitwave. So credit to the opportunity to do that, because I was in my defined role. And so I started normal coding. And that was just about around the time that people were like, getting sensitive to like the next level of chat GPT, from like, oh, not just chatting, but like, hey, there was this thing called windsurf, and it was like a IDE, an environment
Mm.
where you didn't have to know how to code. You could ask it things. Now that was pretty immature at the time, but for me, as a person who wasn't like a engineer by default, and I was like starting to learn to code, and most of what I was doing was like copying and pasting code of real engineers and like strapping them together and getting on calls with the engineers and being like, I don't know, I think I put everything in the right place. Why isn't it working? So that's kind of how it started for me. And then in terms of like it just grows on you. And so at some point I was like, I got to do this 100%. Like this is absolute. This the way this has changed what I was doing. I started writing about it and all that kind of stuff, and then it just naturally evolved.
Okay, so you caught the very, very first wave of vibe coding. Let's call it like this. Because for me, it started a little bit later. I'm coming from the marketing background, so for me, it changed everything when the ChatGPT came out. Yeah, and I started playing with just prompting. But for the second time, it changed how I work. It just was recently, like maybe 5 months ago, when we started to have AI agents. The systems got more mature. Yeah, they're capable of a lot of stuff. So right now it's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm very bullish on AI.
yeah, it's incredibly like it's amazing. And actually, what's interesting about it is that as this has been happening, right? I've noticed kind of the leapfrogging, which is that like, and I just want to say to people out there, like, if you haven't dug in or like you feel you're behind, you're actually not, because what is happening is like, uh, the technology is moving so fast that people that join in later, they don't know that history and they don't need to, but it's almost like I evaluate it as like, one, AI's UX is improving. I know it's the technology, but like its user experience is improving every day. So it's like, imagine somebody coming in at that early stage. There's certain principles and things that you learn, you get comfortable by being that early, but also still like, imagine somebody coming at this stage just being like, hey, I open Replit and I just tell it what to do, and like it all lovable, or like I met another one yesterday, builder.io. There's a ton of these. They're all different levels, but like you just jump in today and you are caught up to let's say whoever was an OG, right? You might not have some context and depth, but I love that though, because in my mind, part of AI's role is like the democratization of the ability to create. And so, like, a small cadre of people like being able to create is not the ideal. What if we had 7 billion people in the world, right, with the ability to create? I'm kind of like touting Replete's message, but fundamentally, that's what AI is doing. It needs a bunch of UX improvement to get there to where everybody can do that. But like, yeah, that's the journey we're on.
Yeah, and since you mentioned a couple of tools, may I ask you what is your go-to tool stack, AI tool stack?
So I use my own, but let me edit that. The LLM underneath my own is Claude, and specifically Claude Code. So I'm like a yeah, I play with ChatGPT. I play with Replit sometimes. It's like very good for like demo stuff, and even deeper now. The technologies. I play with a lot of things, but I am heavy Claude Code. But the front end, like the coordination layer, is something I built for myself, because I actually believe in this, like this very hyper personalization. thing with I think that like future and like as we go into the future, what people will want is a very hyper personalized AI that like does what they want in the way that they want it, all of that kind of stuff.
Hyper personalization. I just today or yesterday saw the news that they released the platform that allows you to invite your AI agents to the Google Meet, so you can have your personalized AI agent that has its own personality, tone of voice, knows the stuff. Yeah, you can already invite them to the Google Meet. And I was actually, when I started this podcast, I was thinking like it would be good at some point to record the podcast with the an AI agent, not with the human, yeah, but with the AI agent. So now it's possible. I'm gonna explore. Maybe I will stop inviting guests and we'll be just recording podcasts with AI agents.
It'd be a
We'll see.
all AI show. Yeah, no, 100%. Like yesterday, I was in a meeting with someone, and I was like, I bet you would prefer if you had a personal assistant and it was an all hands. So like the person was like, "Oh, company all hands, blah blah blah." And I was like, I feel like this is one of the meetings that you might want to send your AI personal assistant to. It's present, it listens, captures all the information, and tells you if there's anything that you should, be concerned about. It's kind of like that concept that you're talking about, and I think it's gonna happen. You'll have my AI meeting your AI, and then deciding. It's the lower level meetings, right? Like they're like, hey, AI, my AI, your AI, you guys meet and tell us if there's something important there because we're busy doing, something else, or if we
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
attend the next meeting, let us know.
yeah. And if something important, they will send you a Slack message like, "Hey, my knowledge base is limited. Your presence is needed." Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then you pop in, right? Like that itself potentially like 2x's productivity. That simple thing because it's like then you're only at the meetings you should be, and then you're only at the meetings for the amount of time that you should be, right? We schedule an hour meeting, everybody's there for an hour, but maybe your thing is only 10 minutes. And if your AI is like a very strong representation of you and can like alert you, hey, hop in, maybe you could join three meetings at the same time and like and like hop between them. So it'll be interesting, all kinds of applications. I mean, there are problems with that too, right? Like, but it's just interesting thinking about all the applications of AI, really.
And the speed of shipment of the development of the features increased so much. I don't know, I can't even like keep up with the updates. All the even the tools that I'm using, I cannot keep up with the updates they're releasing. I'm not talking about the new tools that we need to onboard, explore, understand how to use, but the current tools. Yeah, it's crazy right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, then this is actually kind of like amazing and also a problem. Like on LinkedIn, I think it was a week ago, I put a post up that I was like, "Wait, you're releasing a feature every week, every week? The like humans can't actually like absorb that. Like as a customer of a product, that every week something new comes, I'm not able to like use that stuff. I'm not able to pay attention to that, all of that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, and so my next conclusion is that this is for AI. Like, what I mean is the only thing that can immediately adopt like 1,000 features a day is an AI agent. If I have a product and like every day I'm releasing something new, like you won't you have other things you're doing with your life. You're not here just monitoring my product for every feature, right? And okay, if I study the feature that you released today, then tomorrow like when I study that next one, I haven't even used the one that you released yesterday. Now, but an AI agent, if the primary user of your product, which is something I think about a lot, is an AI agent, every single feature that comes out, it can immediately add it to its set of capabilities and be like, "Ooh, this is going to improve everything that we've been doing like by 10x," and it doesn't matter how fast. So it's actually interesting how there's this shift with like its speed of delivery. The only thing that can absorb that is like something that is like it, and it should make us better, like humans wise.
that's actually interesting take. Yeah. That, yeah, ideal audience for all these updates are the AI agents. especially if they are already using these tools or connectors, yeah, inside them, so they will know how to improve. But for me as a marketer right now, it's so hard to capture the public space, yeah, with some announcement. I just don't know. I recently, for the Intellect EU, we fully rebranded the Catalyx
I
product
saw
suite
that.
for the
It looks
Canton Network.
beautiful, by the way. I just have to say that. It's like
Yeah.
incredible work, man.
Yeah, but it was so hard to promote because we chose the date like the regular product launch. Of course, AI helped a lot to ship this faster, but it was the product launch and you just can't own the public space, even in the Canton network, for example, because people keep building stuff and all the new products, new apps, they come out every day, so you can't own the public space anymore.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the thing, hearing it from the marketing side. Like I'm not as deep there, but like you kind of see this almost in each space, right? Like even in the product space, right? Like where you create a product, you're like, this is awesome, but like everybody on LinkedIn is making a product. But it's interesting to hear you talk about that marketing piece as well.
Yeah, and talking about not marketing but your stuff, the idea of this podcast is to have a quick talk about AI and how it changes the way you work, the way you think, the way you execute. Maybe, or what are the key like problems that AI helped you to solve, or maybe in your sphere? Your podcast is called Finance is Cooked, so maybe AI helped to make it less cooked.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so since you went there, I'll start there. And we got to talk after the show as well because the Finance is Cooked show is produced by AI in the sense that like I have an AI agent. It's actually on the website. Like when people go there, I have an AI
Mm.
agent that actually sort of like scripts the show. Meaning it well, it doesn't script the show. I'll tell you what I do. From my phone, I'll send a message. The AI agent is called at producer. So I say at producer, I want to do a segment on blah 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 in some episode, or I say a producer for episode 5, we're going to do blah, blah. So I just send those messages through iMessage on my phone, and then it updates our show tool, like the tool that we use to sequence that. And then the other thing is like it can research, like I would be like, hey, I want to do a show that's focused all on agents. Do a full research of the different segments. So like that's one way. Honestly, I would never have been able to spend the time on a podcast without this. But now, because I get all kinds of thoughts throughout the day, and so now I can send the message to the agent, and he just slots it as a proposed segment, and then my co-host and I kind of sit down a few days before of like the actual show and say, what do you think about this? Well, we don't like this, move this out, let's use this new topic. Oh, I heard this. And then so that's one way that like for sure for the show 100%.
So your setup for podcasting looks pretty solid. Mine is not that solid, but still like a lot of podcasting part is taken out by AI, yeah, like recording, editing, scripting, profiling the candidates, yeah. For example, I also did a research on you and I have a summary like what did you do, where you worked, what you shipped, what like analysis of your LinkedIn post and so on. So this is crazy. Like this would take at least hours of research
Yeah,
to understand what you've been doing and prepare. Yeah, right now it can be done in minutes.
yeah.
The second part is to show how people use AI for the actual stuff. So, Ore, can we watch you AI? And if you put your screen on, let us know what we'll be looking at.
Yeah, so let me try to share here. This is the first time I'm using this script, so you can tell me if am I sharing my screen properly here.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we're in the right place. So Bodan, this is what I was saying on my side, which is that like I 100%. Let me do one thing. Let me put your so I can see your face. I use my own. This is my own. I'll go to light mode, which is AI feature, but I I use my own kind of like agent organizer and all of that kind of stuff. Now, underneath this all is Claude Code, right? Like it's the LLM is Claude. It can flip between like Sonnet and Opus 4.6, but like underneath the infra for this, so this is like an organization layer for me where I create agents for various things. So like I have an agent that's like the chief AI officer, and like it has I work with it when I'm like trying to construct thoughts about specific like AI situations, AI strategy. I have a I have different agents here. I have a oh, this is my build in public agent. So as I'm building this platform, let me actually go into it. So I go into chat. You see how it's creating posts. I haven't posted this. So like the objective of this agent was that I'm building this platform as I go, and then at the same time, it actually looks through everything I've done on building the platform each day, and it summarizes it. And it says, "Hey, here's a post." So like I could actually literally go on LinkedIn and post this. Maybe I'll do this right now, but it's doing this autonomously. So like every day it has a autonomous thing that goes out. Oh man, it spent $3 doing that. That's expensive. But essentially, it creates posts. So that's day 9, so on and so forth. So that's another thing. I can also chat with it, right? Like I can interact with it and ask it various things, so on and so forth. So that's one of my agents. Let me see what's I think I told you about my agent that runs our Finances Cook show. So there are a couple of agents. This is the agent that has the ability to do research, right? Like it can research. There's a lot of text here, but basically it runs on a schedule. I can show you, and it does a bunch of research, create sections for our show, so on and so forth. So, again, I can interact with it. The other class of agents that I have that I love is I've built so many apps, and one of the problems that I was having was was the fact that like I wouldn't know where they all are. Here, I'll show you all my builder agents. So all these agents, they are specific. They know each of these products that I've built, and I leverage them. Like I work with them in continuing to build. So like this one is like AgenticLedger prod. That one is quiet because I haven't been using that lately. But like essentially, it's the agents that build the various things I built, and then I have this thing here called a lab. So anytime I want to build, I can build an agent here, or I can build a skill, or I can build a prompt, or here are my apps. Okay, I'll just click one of them. So these are all kinds of different apps that I've essentially built. This one, okay, so this is Finance is Cooked. It's built by AI and managed by the platform. Let me see which other one is interesting here. Just a bunch of you can push me different directions, but basically the way AI is, I come here. I actually have a home agent here. I come here, and then I basically send messages here. It creates agents. It does a variety of things, and then I just work with those agents. So I'm almost, to be honest, today I'm almost always using AI for some portion. There are many things you can't do with AI, but like some portion of it is always involved, right? Even if I'm just asking it to check
Mhm.
something, I just pick the right agent, and then I go with that.
That looks impressive. That's kind of your own personal, I don't know, like terminal, LLM, your own personal AI hub. That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you, for example, you told me that some of the feature it cost you $3 to do that. How do you cost cap in the all the AI agents so they keep running, they have credits always, they have tokens, and they don't overcharge you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like so this is one agent. This is the one that like can prepare Finances Cooked episode. And it has this thing called
Mhm.
goals. So for me, goals are the thing that like does like a recurring thing. I actually don't have that many agents just like auto do things independently. I have a few like this one, but like if you see here, I have a budget, and I say that's actually probably a little too high, but I basically say, hey, your budget is X dollars each day. Now, this only runs weekly, but each instance, absolutely do not spend more than $10. You see this here. it means I can interact with this agent from Telegram, or it also sends that message to Telegram as well. So I use like this budgets and feature to like limit what it can do. And then to your question, like if I go here, if you look here, let me filter the status active. So I only have like three that for sure will
Mm-hmm,
always
mm-hmm.
run. Like I don't want to overspend, but I have a bunch that are paused, right? And I can trigger them at any time. I can be like, trigger this, and then it'll do this. The one that is just very useful to me is like, these two will go to my Gmail. I think one of them is calendar. Okay, yeah, this is a calendar. Every day, every morning, I just receive my calendar. And then this one is like yesterday's email headline. So you can see budget is $2, don't spend more than $2. So these builder agents, all they're doing, just for people who are building, this will resonate with you. All they are doing is, one, they're supreme experts on the folder on that repo, right? And so they just update the files in that repo and push it up to GitHub. So like if I want to work from Gemini in some other place, I'm just updating the same repo. So 100%, like anytime I want to work on, actually the crazy one that I would say, it's not crazy, but like the interesting one is like this platform. So like if I wanted to add like a tab here, right, that's called, I don't know, this agent is the builder of this platform that I have itself. So if I wanted to add something, you can see I was coding yesterday, or five coding, I guess. If I wanted to add something to this platform, I would come here and ask it to add that, right? And then it would do it. So this is the agent, but it's deep expertise on this specific, zoomed in, right, in a way that like general Claude Code is very good, but like it doesn't remember the history of all the things that we've done, so on and so forth, in the way that this agent does.
Maybe I also have the question that interests me personally, yeah, because it's kind of part of my professional occupation right now is the Canton Network, and I know that you built some stuff for the Canton Network, yeah, explorers, and you basically already running the AI agents for the network. So it's pretty unique, yeah. It's like sub-transaction privacy, it's kind of public blockchain, but with added on top privacy. So how does AI agents interact with the Canton network?
Yeah, no, great question. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Canton Network, especially for that institutional. Like, I think that they have captured the user desire of the
Mm-hmm.
institutional like user, if I may use user in that generic term, right? Like the need for privacy, the and interoperability, all of those pieces. To your question, the first use case was like I think the first AI agent on the Canton network, I think I built was like Canty. And
Yay.
yeah, and its use case was builders and like participants just understanding the network. It's quite robust. They spent like 10 years building it before it sort of like came out into like the public sphere. So it's quite a complicated network, all of that kind of stuff. So I made the agent grab all the data, and a lot of builders were using it to kind of like ask questions about, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? Who do I talk
Mm-hmm.
to for this? All of that kind of stuff. So that was the first kind of use case. But there's opportunities, right? Like there's somebody actually got a grant recently in the network to research agentic payments. I forget the provider. So that's coming. There are other AI agent platforms on the network now, and also reporting tools that people have layered AI on. So a lot of stuff going on in that regard. Excited about Canton and AI combination for sure.
Thanks for the insights. Yeah, I think also you are the pioneer of AI agents on the Canton network. So yeah, and that's how we basically communicated for the first time is or it was related to AI agents and Canton network. So Canton is connecting people, AI is connecting people as well.
Yeah, it is. It's super fun. It is super fun.
Okay, or do you have something else interesting to show us?
More thing. So one of the things that I think for people, again, I call this my AI for one because like it's this hyper personalization concept where everything I'm building here, I'm building for
Mhm.
me. It was like I was trying to do something and I was like, oh, why can't I do that with AI right now? Okay, let me build that into my thing. I'm very much into the hyper personalization thing, building this for me. And then some of my friends, like friends and family discount. I just hand it to them, Hub Repo, and they're using it and giving me feedback. That's my contract with them. You have to give me feedback, otherwise I'll take it away from you. But but that one of the things that like they sort of like is like I have this lab concept, and this was for me was like when I'm going to build an app, like in the normal Claude Code way or whatever, like I would go in Claude Code, I start building. Well, at the point at which you have like 5 apps or 6 apps, they're like all over the place. They're like all these sorts of things. So for me, having a library, so this is a library of like apps that I built, I can launch them, I can publish them actually to like a marketplace. There's a concept there. I won't go into it, but I have a library, so it's my one-stop shop to come and look at stuff that I have. But the lab concept is where I can actually like go in and say I want to create. Actually, let me see if I can do this real quick here. Calculator. Can you build? Now this is a simple app. Build me a calculator, and then I think I just browse and choose where I want it. Let me just, if I can just find some place, desktop, okay, and I just select that. So it's gonna put it on desktop. I'm gonna hit create. The AI agent, let's see if it'll work here. So it sends the message. There's a skill, so like I don't know if this is too small, but I built a skill that's like specific to me and how I do things, and so it will use that skill to like build the or not the AI agent, but to build the app. Now, in that lab, there's other options. While that's loading, I'll go to the lab here. So, like, I can do the same thing with a skill. I can do the same thing with like an agent, so on and so forth. So anyway, so this is building. You can see it's taking action. If you want to see all of the talking, this like it's got all these logs of like I did this. You know how in Claude Code it has all of that. I have that, but I abstracted from the user. So okay, it's at phase 1 of 7. It should be pretty quick because a simple calculator app is it shouldn't take more than like let's say maybe a couple minutes. So we'll just let it do its thing. A thing that I actually want to do in the hyper personalization concept is I want one agent to rule them all, is what I call it. Meaning, I don't actually want people, if I give this to someone, and this came from somebody, right? Like, to have to come in here and like create an agent or create a skill or create an app or create a prompt, like actually in the UI. I want there to be an agent at the top of this all that they can just come here and say, create an agent that does blah, 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 right? Or so on and so forth. I'm still working on this part, like it's in progress. But essentially, like that's sort of like my goal is that, yes, all of this structure is just infrastructure. You shouldn't have to worry about it because if you think about people, like, or let me think about me because I built it for me. What I want out of AI at the end of all of this is for me to just talk like I'm talking into the mic right now and say, do this and then it's done. I don't want to create an agent. I don't want to create a skill, create a prompt, all of those things. That's just like infra, right? I just want to say do it, and if it needs to create an agent to accomplish it, good for you. If it's a skill, good for you, so on and so forth. So like that's what I'm working on here. It's already started to work a little bit. And then the idea here is that I have this thing here where this is for me, right? Like when I'm in meetings, I want to be able to just have my mic on and just like talk to it and basically say, "Hey, do this," right? An aside thing, not in this whole dominant, thing. Just a side chat here and says, "Hey, do this," blah blah blah. This is work in progress.
Is there any skill maybe you can think of we can share with the subscribers?
Yeah, let me see. Okay, let me see. So I have a skills library.
Yeah, some public one that you are open to give away for free and let everyone.
There is one called Dev Browser. Okay. Okay, this is Dev Browser. This is not mine. I downloaded this from somewhere else. But the Dev Browser skill, and by the way, I just realized a feature that I should have, which is like it creates the skills and stores the files, but you can't view them here. So I'm going to add this feature. But I might not do it on the show, but it'll be pretty quick. I'll tell my agent, hey, add the ability to click preview, so like you can click it.
Mhm.
But it's a GitHub. Just search Dev Browser in GitHub, and it's a skill that essentially allows your AI agent to basically browse other sites. It's kind of like Playwright, if people know. Like I can tell one of my AI agents, hey, go to CNN and grab blah 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 blah, and it'll do that. So I like the skill because like when I want my AI agent to like, it's kind of cool to watch your AI agent open a website and like do stuff on it and stuff. Okay, let's see what stage this is in. I'm but I'm pretty surprised that it has gone so robust on like a sim. I should have told it. I so
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and also I mention it a lot of times when you ask just for a simple thing, but it's like if you do not use the brainstorming or something like this, and the agent or the platform doesn't understand deeply what you want to build, it will go like and create much more stuff that you don't even need it. Yeah, that's why I'm always using like even for some research tasks and so on, I always asking like, okay, use the brainstorm skill or ask me any questions before starting because I need it to be pretty like small and detailed.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great tip. Okay, so it followed my skill phases 1 to 5 complete. Now it says open in my browser. So this is a moment of truth. Let's see like if it actually built it here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna open it. Yeah, voila! That's your calculator, local hosted. Like let's see if it does math right. 7 times 7 is 49. I think I know my math. Oh, it does it. Nice. I'm surprised it took that long to be honest, because this is a fairly simple thing. But one thing I should say though that it was doing, because I trained it to do that, is to follow my steps. So I think it was being more disciplined. You can see how in my case my skill has those 7 phases, right? Like, and after phase 5 it creates the preview. So it has created the preview. Look at this. It has a developer agent, right? That if I want to keep modifying, I would just go to that agent and keep modifying it. The status is draft, so on and so forth. Now, if I want to deploy, I can tell it to deploy. I have an integration to like Railway. It's one of the deployment, and then it can be a public website, right? Right now, this is just local to me. So like that's how I at least scaffold. I would consider this like basic simple tools and basic scaffolding.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Thanks for showing. So usually like at the end of the episode I ask the final question, which is when will AI replace you? But I don't know if it's relevant because I think AI has already replaced you. Like the way you work, it feels completely new and different.
Yeah, no, I mean, Bodan, the first thing I will say is that it is my goal for AI to completely replace me. Like to me, this is the
Mhm.
point, because like the way I think about what humans are doing is that like fundamentally, if AI can do it better, it means that we have some other competitive advantage that we should lean into, right? I'm not that interested in like protecting my ground against AI. I actually wanted to liberate me from grounds that I shouldn't be doing. And a common thing that I often say about it is like, I use like an investment banker as an example, or like an analyst, and I'm like, it's actually kind of not humane to sit at a computer all day moving numbers in a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
or even what I'm doing. Like, generations after us will be like, no wonder you died at 80. How is it that you guys were staring at these screens? Like, this is so bad for you, right? So like that's part of my own view of it, is that like we are discovering what it is that like humans are really good at, and like what they should be doing. And slowly, well, I don't know if it's going to be slow, that's the concern. But AI should be, in the journey of replacing us in those things. Now we have to think about how to care about people, how, like, if people like lose jobs or opportunities, how do we make sure that people are okay in this transition? But I am a super optimist, and I have a lot of faith in humanity that we will figure out what it is that we should be doing, right? Like, in my mind, the only concept I have of that is like it's projects of some sort, but I don't know what those projects would be. Maybe it's studying rocks. Maybe it's like climbing all the every mountain above 10,000 feet. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe it's orchestrating stuff. I don't know, but we should let it happen, and then we should like work towards figuring out the next thing for us while AI does these sorts of things.
Absolutely amazing take on this. Thank you, Ora. I wouldn't even imagine the better answer to that. And I kind of like it. So I didn't think that far, to be honest, but yeah, it makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys. That was Ore Phillips for the Watch Me AI episode. I will share the links to connect with Ore and to watch the Finances Cooked show. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Ore, for
Thank,
joining me. It was
Oda,
awesome episode.
thank you for having me, and thank you to the audience for listening. Yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I always love talking about this stuff. Thanks so much. It's been fun.
Hey, until the next episode.